All Academy. Always with you.
Hello my dear students, welcome to this online video lecture on elements of mechanical engineering. So in the previous session we have discussed the important concepts on the wind energy. Then we have discussed the working of windmill. In that one we have studied how the electrical energy is generated from the wind energy, and even we have discussed the advantages and disadvantages of a wind energy or the windmill. Now in today's session we're going to discuss the two important energy production unit, that is, one is the hydro energy and another one is the nuclear energy. And again in hydro energy we're going to see the hydro power plant, and in the nuclear energy we're going to see the nuclear power plant. So without wasting much time, let us begin with the today's session. Now we all know that the water is the most abundant substance on the surface of a planet. So that's why among all the planets, the planet Earth is called as a blue planet, because it has a most abundant quantity of water when compared to other all planets. That's why it is called as a blue planet. Earth is also called as a blue planet. Now the energy that is extracted from the water is called the hydropower. So which energy? The potential energy of water, so which is extracted, that is called a hydropower. Now the hydropower is a renewable and non-depleting source of an energy. In addition to that, it does not create any pollution to the environment. This hydropower can be produced, means the whatever energy extraction is there, so that can be carried by the two forms or two methods. One is run river side, or that is a run off river side. Another one is a reservoir produced by the dam. So here you can see this one. So this is the first one, that is a run off river side, means the flowing water is there, so that is not at the certain height, and it will be continuously flowing. That is a run off river side. Here you can see this figure. There the powerhouse is there. From this the electricity is generated. And this is a reservoir produced by a dam. A strong construction, that is a concrete structure, is created to hold the flow of a river, to hold the flowing water, and that is utilized, and it is a head is created, and with the help of that head, so the energy conversion is, or the electrical energy is extracted. So let us discuss in details. But in India we see most of the plants, that is a hydropower plants, are with a reservoir produced by a dam. Means they are based on the dam construction. The dam is constructed to extract the energy. So in India, the most of the hydropower plants, we follow this method, that is a reservoir produced by the dam. Now what is this hydropower plant? The plant which converts the potential energy of water into mechanical energy and generates an electrical energy. Again in turn it generates an electric energy, that is called a hydropower plant, or it is also called as a hydroelectric plant. Now here is a schematic figure that shows the hydropower plant. Generally this hydropower plant consists of a strong rigid concrete structure which is known as a dam, and this dam is created in such a manner that it has to withstand the pressure of water stored behind it. Okay, whatever the water is there, it has to withstand, this dam has to withstand the pressure by this still water. These dams are created on the river flows, where the river will be, or the flowing water will be there. So to abstract, it is just abstract to that flowing water, and a head is created, means the water level is raised. And again it all consists of control gates, then a penstock, generator house, then powerhouse, transformer, power, turbine, and power transmitting units, and this is a draft tube. So this one is a draft tube, and this is a tail race. So these are the few important components we'll go into, or parts that we'll going to see in each and every hydro power plants or hydroelectric plants. And based on these capacities, these hydro power plants are divided into small scale or small quantity of generation based on their quantity of an electricity production. These are divided into small scale, medium scale and high scale dams, hydro power plants. Now let us see the working of a hydro power plant. So you have clear with a construction. So construction is that it is a strong hydro concrete structure which helps to withstand or hold the flowing water. So this is a dam, and it all consists of these different parts. Now so here you can see the animation of how this hydro power plant works. Now during rainy season or whatever the water will flow as in a river, so that water is stored in a reservoir. So whatever storage is, that is called as a reservoir with the help of a strong rigid concrete structure called as a dam. And this dam in turn it has a penstock which allows this flow of water. And this following this, whatever the flow of water is there, the potential energy of this water, the potential energy of this stored water is converted into mechanical work or mechanical energy when it passes through the turbine. So what does the turbine do? It converts the potential energy of water into mechanical energy, and this turbine in turn it is connected to generator, and this generator produces the electricity, and that electricity again it is supplied with the help of transformer unit and transmission line to the required area. After the completion of this, when the conversion of potential energy into mechanical energy, the whatever water is there, so that comes out from an outlet of a turbine, and with the help of a draft tube it will enter into the tail race. And this draft tube helps to reduce the energy, because even some quantity of potential energy will be left in this water, so that will be reduced in the draft tube. And this draft tube is made as a converging section. So like this converging section it will be made in that manner it is designed, so that its pressure is reduced. So it's the whatever pressure left out or the energy left out in this water, that will be reduced. So this is a simple working of a hydro power plant or hydroelectric plant. So let us look into the advantages and disadvantages of the hydroelectric power plant. Now if you look into the advantages of a hydro power plant, already I have discussed this one, that is the hydro power plants are the renewable energy resources. The hydropower plants does not release the emission into the atmosphere, and a hydrogen power plant is the most suitable reliable energy resource. And the hydropower plants requires less maintenance. They requires less maintenance only. So the maintenance will be there in the dam section, means where there is a gate will be opening where the water is allowed to flow through the penstock, and in some time the maintenance will be required in the powerhouse. So apart from that one, so remaining everything will be there. But even there are some drawbacks of this hydro power plant. Even though there are many advantages of this hydro power plants, so we have some of the major drawbacks of a hydro power plants. Let us look into these drawbacks or the disadvantages of hydro power plant. The first one is the hydro power plants are extremely expensive to build. That is very first major drawback, because we need huge investment in crores we require when we want to build even a small scale hydro power plant. So we requires a huge quantity of money to be invested in these projects, because the dam has to be created, we need to locate the location, and we need to measure the safety precaution, we need to take all the surrounding area, means surrounding villages nearby those areas or surrounding localities who are staying in that area, so we need to shift them. So it requires very large expensive to build one hydro power plant or hydroelectric plant. Now the hydro power plants have environmental impact. It affects the land use, homes and the natural habitats and the dam areas. That is one more very important drawback or major drawback of this hydro power plant. So when the reservoir is built, so this water will be continuously stored in that. So because of that storage, the surrounding the villages or surrounding forest areas, that will be completely vanished. So that you can see this why these the water during the rainy season, during heavy rains, the villages nearby the dams, they will get complete water, means this is a reason. And every time you will see in the news every year, so these villages will be shifted during rainy season to some higher or hilly regions. So this is a main drawback of an hydroelectric power plant. Now the construction of a dam affects the natural flow of a river. That is a one more variant, because the flow, the river, whatever it's flowing, it takes its own path. So it is a naturally, it takes its own path, but when we construct the dam, we restrict its natural flow, and then so this river will take into some other direction. That is why we are seeing most of the floods during the rainy season. Floods are created mainly due to the direct change of direction of rivers, so by constructing these dams. Now the performance of an hydro plants could significantly affected by the drought. When during rainy seasons we have enough quantity of water, then we can flow it and we can generate the electricity. And during summer season, so the water storage capacity, means due to the less rain, so we don't get sufficient quantity of water, so that during that time, so the performance or the efficiency of this plant would be very less. So these are the few advantages and disadvantages of a hydroelectric plant or hydro power plant. So hope that you are clear within a construction and you are clear within a working. So whatever the line diagram or schematic diagram I have shown, so you need to draw that diagram when if the question is asked on this topic, and write down the construction part as a what are the different namings, what are the different parts are there in the hydropower plant, and in the workings, so how this potential energy of water is converted into mechanical energy, then mechanical energy into electrical energy. That you need to explain it in your own words. So now let us look into one more very important energy, so that we see in each and every developing nations, that is a nuclear energy. So this nuclear energy is a chemical energy released during splitting or fusing of an atomic nuclei in the reaction, in the nuclear reaction. So whatever the chemical energy, that is a chemical reaction taking place in the nuclear reactor, so either during splitting or fusing of an atomic nuclei, we call it as a nuclear energy. And this reaction, that is nuclear reaction, involves the changes in the structure of nucleus. As a result, the nucleus gains or loses the neutrons or protons and releases the enormous amount of energy. And this release of energy will be in the form of heat, and this is in the very high temperature. Heat will be released during the nuclear reaction, and this energy is utilized to produce some useful energy. And this nuclear reaction takes in a two different way. One is fusion and another one is a fission. So let us know what is this fission and fusion reaction. So first one is a fusion reaction. If the two heavy atoms or nucleus of an atoms combines together to form one strong heavy nuclei atoms, then such a nuclear reactions we call it as a nuclear fusion reaction. Fusion means they combine together to form a new atoms. They combine to form a one new atoms. That is a nuclear fusion reaction. Similarly, in a fission reaction, it is a process in which the heavy or a nucleus of a heavy atom split into two different subatoms or subnucleus. In such a process, we call it as a nuclear fission reaction. So hope it is clear what is nuclear fusion reaction and what is nuclear fission reaction. Now the conversion of this energy into useful work is done in a nuclear power plant. So what is this nuclear plant? It is the plant in which the nuclear energy, means during whatever fusion reaction or fission reaction taking place, during that whatever energy is released, that energy is converted into some useful work. That is a nuclear power plant. Now here is a schematic representation of a nuclear power plant, and generally these nuclear power plants are differentiated in three different units. This is a first unit. This is a reactor unit where the actual reaction will takes place, means the fission and fusing of reaction nucleus is there, no, that will take place in this reactor unit or reactor chamber. And this is a second unit, middle one what you're observing. This is a power unit where the whatever energy is there though. So the energy, that heat energy, that is converted in this section. This is the power unit. And last one is here, this one, this part is a cooling unit, means this cools the whatever energy, means liquid used for this in this system, so that will be cooled in this cooling unit. So this is a schematic representation of a nuclear power plant. If the question is asked in the examination with a neat sketch, explain the nuclear power plant, means you need to draw this figure, this schematic figure you need to draw. And in explanation, please write two separate paragraph. One construction, another is the working. In construction, you can write it that the above figure shows a schematic representation of nuclear power plant, and it consists of, write down the different parts of this nuclear plant. And in this nuclear plant, we are having control rods, then reactor, steam generator, pump, then steam line, turbines, powerhouse, generator, cooling water condenser, then cooling tower, then the power transmission systems or units. So these are the parts of a general hydro or nuclear power plant. So let us look into the working of a nuclear power plant. So already with the schematic representation, I have explained you the construction of a nuclear power plant. It means what are the different part it will contains. So with the help of an animation, so it will be very much easy to understand the working of a nuclear power plant. So here is an animation that will shows you the working of a nuclear power plant. Now, as I said, no, the same different. This is a first unit. This is a reactor unit, and this is a power unit, and third one is a cooling unit. So in a reactor unit, it consists of a reactor vessel and the steam generator as well as a pump and the pressurizer. Now this nuclear reactor vessel or a reactor vessel, the fuels like uranium-235, uranium-234, so these are the commonly used nuclear fuels. With the fuel rods, they will be placed in these nuclear reactors. And the control rods are used to control the nuclear fission or fusion reaction in the reactor vessel by lowering or by raising these control rods. And during the reaction, a nuclear reaction, the enormous amount of heat energy released, whatever energy is released, so that heat energy is utilized to generate the steam in the steam generator. And this steam will be with a very high pressure and high temperature steam, the heat will be coming, that is pressurized by using this pressurizer. And the water is continuously fed with the help of a pump to produce the steam, means whatever the heat energy is there, so that converts the water into high pressure steam. So this high pressure, high temperature steam is allowed to fed into the turbine unit or a power unit, where it consists of a steam turbine. Please note that in nuclear power plant, it is a steam turbine, whereas in a hydroelectric power plant, we are using hydro turbines or the water turbines. Now these steam, whatever the steam enters with a high pressure steam, so that will expand in the steam turbine, and this steam turbine in turn connected to generator unit, and generator unit will help us to produce the electricity, and this electricity is transferred by using a transfer unit to wherever required area. So here you can see this one. Okay, then after the steam, once it expands, so this whatever steam is there coming out from the turbine, so that is allowed to enter the condenser unit or a cooling unit. In a condenser is a device which reduces the temperature with the help of a continuous supply of a cooling water. And again, this cooling water carries the heat from a steam, and in this condenser, the steam is again converted into water. Again, this water is pumped back to steam generator. Now this whatever heat is absorbed by the cooling water, that is fed into cooling towers. So in a schematic representation, I have shown you this cooling tower. Again, in this cooling tower, the temperature of this hot water is reduced. So this is a simple working of a nuclear power plant. Now let us look into the advantages and disadvantages of a nuclear power plant. So the nuclear power plant do not produces the polluting gases, means whatever the reaction is taking place, that will take place in a strong rigid construction, means that the nuclear reactor is there, no, that is completely rigid. The complete reaction will take place inside the reactor. So whatever reaction is there, so that does not react in the atmosphere. Now the nuclear power plant consumes a small quantity of a fuel. Means with a very small quantity of a fuel, I can produce some required quantity of an energy. The nuclear power plants do not require the large fuel storage facility. So these does not require large fuel storage tanks. The nuclear power plants are not affected by any weather condition. Means, so they are chemical reactions which is taking place in some reactor vessels. So they do not require, they do not affected by any weather condition. So these nuclear power plants will be working in a rainy season, summer, or in a winter. They will be continuously working. Now the nuclear power plants requires less space compared to other power plants. Means when I compare to the hydropower plants, the dam will be situated in some place. Then again the reservoir is constructed. Then with the help of, by creating this reservoir, water reservoir, surrounding lands and villages will be affected. But whereas the nuclear power plants, when compared to hydropower plant, so it requires very less space, and these are generally constructed outside the cities. Now increases the reliability on operation. Means we can reliable on this nuclear energy. So these are the few advantages of a nuclear power plant. Now let us look into some of the drawbacks or disadvantages of a nuclear power plant. Now if you look into the disadvantages and of a nuclear power plant, so these nuclear energy is a non-renewable energy. So whereas the hydropower plant, wind energy, solar energy, all those are renewable energy. So these nuclear power plant is a non-renewable energy. Means once the fuel, that is the nuclear fuel is burnt, means that cannot be reused. Means we need to use a separate nuclear fuels. So it is a non-renewable energy resource. The capital cost of our nuclear power plant is high. Obviously, so we need to construct a strong reactor vessel, strong construction, that because whatever the nuclear radiations or nuclear energy is there, so that should not come out from this reactor. So it requires a heavy investment. The nuclear power plants are not suitable for varying load conditions. Means they are not generally suitable for the varying load conditions. So whatever fixed capacity we construct these plants, under the same capacity they will be running. In nuclear power plant, the waste is radioactive and safe disposal is very difficult and expensive. Now this is one of the major issue. Because of that, many social or these environmentalists are against this nuclear power plants, because the whatever waste after the nuclear reaction, whatever waste is left out, that is a radioactive, and that disposal is a major drawback. Sometimes they will react, or sometimes that the disposal, if it's not taken properly, if it's not done properly, definitely it will going to harm the surrounding or the surrounding peoples. So that is why it is a very difficult to handle these disposal or the radioactive disposal. It requires well-trained workers for the operation and maintenance of nuclear plants. That is very important. So nobody can, somebody which is some basic knowledge they cannot handle. So they require well-skilled and experienced person to operate these power plants, because the nuclear power plant is one of the very efficient. But if does not done in a correct manner, then it will going to definitely hamper the environment, it will hamper the surroundings. So it requires well-trained workers and the operators to maintain and to operate the nuclear power plant. So these are the few advantages and disadvantages of a nuclear power plant. Now let us look into some of the important questions may be asked on these topics, and what will be the weightage of marks. So write a note on hydropower plant. So as I said, what is a hydropower plant? What are the two type methods that hydropower plants are generated? That is a runoff river method, and another one is a reservoir by dam. Then that you need to explain. Sometime it is asked for 4 times, or 4 marks or 5 marks you may be asked. With the need sketch, explain the hydropower plant. So I have shown you the schematic diagram as well as animation. I have shown both the figures I have shown. You need to draw the schematic representation. Then in that one, make a construction, one paragraph, another one paragraph with the working. So in construction, you can take 2 to 3 lines, like the above figure shows a schematic representation, and it all consists of various different parts, you can write it. Then in a working, how it works, how this hydropower plant, the potential energy of water is converted into the electrical energy. That process you need to explain either in a paragraph or in a point wise you can explain it. Next, write a note on hydraulic turbines used in the hydropower plants. So how this hydraulic turbine works. After this turbine, how the water you will allowed, that is with the help of a draft tube, that you need to explain. What are the different parts of a hydropower plant? It is the same question. The second and fourth are same, but it is asked in a different way, so that you need to explain. Now list the advantages and disadvantages of an hydropower plant. So for this one, sometime it is asked for 6 marks. If it is asked for 6 marks, minimum 4 points in advantages, 4 points in disadvantages, you have to write it. If it is asked for 8 marks, minimum 6 points in the advantages and 6 points for disadvantages, you have to write it. Next, when it comes to the nuclear, write a note on nuclear energy, so that you can write it what is the nuclear energy, how the nuclear energy is helpful, then what is a nuclear fission reaction and what is a fusion reaction, that you can explain it. This will be for 4 to 5 marks. And the next one is with define the nuclear fission and fusion reaction. So I have explained you with the figure also, so that it will be very easy to remember you. When two are mixed, it is a fusion mixing. When again when the same or when the heavy atoms is split, that is a fission reaction. With the needs case, explain the nuclear power plant. So even for this one, I have shown the schematic as well as the animation of a power plant, how it works. So you have to draw the schematic representation, make a paragraph of construction and make a paragraph for working, either in a point voice or in a paragraph manner. And this will be for 10 marks. Next, list out the fuels used for nuclear power plant. And this is a homework for you, as you can take assignment or homework. So you have to tell me the different nuclear fuels used in the nuclear power plant in a comment section. And those who answer these questions, they will get some exciting prizes. So you just list out the different nuclear fuels used in a nuclear power plant. You just mention it in a comment box. Then last one is advantages and disadvantages. As I already said, if it is asked for 6 marks, write 4 points in advantages, 4 point disadvantages. If it is asked 8 marks, take 6 points in advantages, 6 points in disadvantages. So these are the questions. This is questions, how the questions may be framed on these two topics. So okay, my dear students, so whatever the topics that we have discussed today, that is hydropower plant, nuclear energy and nuclear power plant, hope it is clear to you people. Still, if you are finding any difficulty in understanding these two topics, you can comment it in a comment section and I will try to clarify your doubts. Do kindly share this video to your friends as well as your groups, so that even it will be very much useful to them also.
Click on subscribe button and press the bell icon to get updates from All Academy.